In example 3, we need to find the exact value for the tangent of pi over 8. You could totally change this into degrees, but I know that the tangent of pi over 8 would be the same as the tangent of pi divided by 4 all over 2. You can imagine if you take pi over 4 divided by 2, you get pi over 8. And so this expression and this expression are really the same. What this does, though, is this allows us to utilize one of our formulas. Remember that the tangent in the first quadrant is going to be positive, so I'm not even going to write the positive or negative sign. I know it's going to be positive here, but that's a choice that you do have to make. And I know utilizing my half angle formula that I've got 1 minus the cosine of that angle we're dividing by 2. So that's pi over 4 over, I'm going to have to increase the size of my radical sign there. I do that a lot, a little bit short, but make sure that it does cover the other one, cosine of pi over 4. Alright, so now what we need to do is we're going to begin our process of simplifying. So I've got 1 minus the cosine of pi over 4, which is root 2 over 2. And then here I've got 1 plus root 2 over 2. That's all underneath the radical sign. There's a variety of ways to start taking care of this. The approach that I'm going to take is I'm going to try to add these fractions together and see what happens in the top and in the bottom. So I'm changing that 1 into 2 over 2 so I can put them together. So I should have 2 minus root 2 over 2 over 2 plus root 2 over 2, and again I need to increase the size of the radical sign. Now I know that my denominators are the same, so when I multiply by the reciprocal, they'll end up canceling out. So I'm just left with the square root of 2 minus root 2 over 2 plus root 2. We'll start that up here so you all can see. The problem with this is twofold. One, we have a fraction underneath the radical sign, and we also have a radical in the denominator of a fraction. So we're going to try to get this out of here. What we're going to have to do is multiply the numerator and denominator by the conjugate. So all we're going to do is we're just going to do the opposite of the sign that appears here. Keep your 2 and your root 2 the same. Oop, my arrow here got in the way a little bit. So I'm going to write my radical sign. And then here I'm going to have 2 times 2, which is 4. 2 and negative 2 root 2. And 2 times negative 2 root 2, so that's negative 4 root 2. And then a negative times a negative root 2, so that'll just be positive 2. Here in the denominator I'm going to have 2 times 2, which is 4. This 2 root 2 and negative 2 root 2 will cancel. This is the difference of 2 squares. And the root 2 and the root 2, it's positive and negative. That's just 2. Now we're going to have this set up, and I'm going to break this into its parts. So the numerator is going to be 4 and 2, which is 6, minus 4 root 2. Actually, you know what? I think it's going to be easier on us if we don't do that. So it's up to you whether you choose to or not, but I just saw something. Here's what I saw. 4 minus 2 is 2, and I can divide each one of these by that same amount. So that's going to work out well for us, actually. You could totally do this by taking the square root of the numerator and denominator, but I think it's going to be some extra steps that we really don't need. So right now what we've got is we've got 6 and 2 and 4 and 2. So let's see. That would be the square root of 3 minus 2 root 2. And that might be a little bit different than what's in the answer key or the completed notes online. So some folks would say that this version is okay right here. You could just leave it like that. However, if we do try to simplify a little bit, I think we can get this to this point, I'm pretty sure. Let's see if we've done that correctly. Let's utilize our calculator here and make sure you're in the correct mode. So I'm going to go to radian mode. I'm just going to do the tangent of pi divided by 8. Hit enter, and then I'm going to type this whole thing in right here. So we're going to do the square root of 3 minus 2, the square root of 2, and then get out of each one of those. And we do have the same thing. So I think this is probably the most simplified version, although it would be arguable to maybe write this down or any one of these intermediate steps. It just depends on what you're doing if you're using it, but I would say that this would be the fully simplified version.